What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bonnie and this is my channel where I talk about all things lifestyle and DIY. And for today's DIY, I'm going to share with you how I made this super cute patisserie stand. So if you want to see that, let's get to it. So I actually made this out of scrap wood. I found some pieces on a local Curb Alert and I picked up these plywood pieces, and then I also had some plywood pieces myself that I was going to use as well. So I did not buy anything new for this. I'll also link below the plans that I used for this, but I did have to modify it to fit all of the supplies that I had, but I think it turned out pretty well. So the first thing that I had to do was rip the plywood so that it was the correct width. I believe on the original plans it calls for a 1 foot wide piece of plywood, and then the shelves are going to be 10 inches wide. I had two different thicknesses of plywood. I believe I had 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So I used the 3/4 of an inch for the top portion of the patisserie stand as well as the fronts of the shelves. I then took the plywood and I cut it to length. These are the front pieces of the shelves and I'm cutting these to length as well. This piece of wood is going to be the two poles that hold up the sign. And then this is going to be the sign. This is what all of the pieces look like. So from left to right, it goes the patisserie sign, the poles that are going to hold it, the top of the stand, the two sides for the stand, and then the shelves and the shelf fronts. And as you can see, I have several different pieces of plywood that are going in opposite directions and variations of grains, but it won't matter since it will be painted. So now I'm going to start assembling the patisserie stand. So I just used wood glue and some screws to attach the sides to the top of the stand. I did one screw on each end and then another screw in the middle. I really love how easy this patisserie stand was to make, especially because I didn't pay anything for it. I really love using scrap wood for projects, and I think this is one of the cuter projects that I have made out of scrap wood. The hardest part for the patisserie stand was finding the angle for the shelves. So if you know me, I hate math and I'm not really good at angles, which is super funny because there's angles and math involved in woodworking every single time. But I was trying to figure out the best way that I could get these shelves angled at the exact same angle. Wow, I said angle a lot. But I don't think I ever figured that out, so I decided to put on the front of the shelf first and then angle the shelf and kind of just eye it from there. I attached the fronts of the shelf using 2 screws on each side. I then kind of just played with placement for the shelf by measuring to make sure that it was the same distance on each side from the bottom of the stand. And from there, I just secured it to the stand with screws. After the first shelf was attached, I went ahead and I repeated the same process with the second shelf. It was kind of a tight fit, so I had to use my mallet to tap it in. Now I'm working on attaching the post that's going to be holding up the sign. I measured the center of the stand and then the center of the post, and then secured it with 2 screws on the side. I then repeated the same process on the other side. To secure the top, I added some wood glue to the sides and then attached it with screws. I wanted to do something a little extra, so I went and used this chalkboard paint on a piece of scrap wood, and I spray painted it to make a chalkboard menu. To complete the stand, I made the patisserie sign and the menu sign using my Cricut. I absolutely love using my Cricut, not sponsored or endorsed at all. I just love using it because I'm able to customize everything that I make using it. Don't judge me on how dirty my mat is. So this is what the menu sign looks like, and I ran out of transfer tape, so I had to use painter's tape, and it worked out all right. But this is what the stand looks like now. Honestly, I think I was more excited to complete this than Adrienne was when she saw it. Don't get me wrong, she was super happy, but I have just this thing about building stuff that reminds me of like my childhood and the fake treats and donuts and all of these cakes and breads. They just are so fun and colorful, and I absolutely love this build. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys in the next video.